So, just got out of fucking Robocop. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. I don't think since Machete Kills last October.
Good God.
So it's been a while. You know, I had my doubts about this remake. I really did, because obviously it's a tough thing to live up to the original. And I rewatched the original yesterday so that way I could get myself ready for this one to compare and contrast. I want to go on ahead and tell anybody who is trashing on this movie, who's hating on this movie because of the fact that it's not the original. I want you to stop right now, because this is a halfway decent movie. This is not the shit pile I thought it was going to be. The thing is, it's different from the original.
Exactly.
And everybody wants the original again. And then when they make a remake of a movie and it's exactly like the original, they complain about it.
Because it's exactly
well,
the same.
here's my question: is what vision do you gain by just running in circles? You know, you have the original here, then you remake it, and you make it exactly the same as it was before. What's new?
You don't get anywhere taking a hero and putting the same hero in the same story, basically, and just spattering it throughout time, putting it in different settings.
Exactly. I'm not saying this movie doesn't have its share of problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on our way out, we were already talking about a plot hole, which is actually sort of kind of major. Anyway...
It's a pretty big thing.
So, this is basically Robocop, the Marvel movie origin. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about here. You know, like, Captain America, the first Avenger, it's his origin story. Right. Thor, it's his origin story. Robocop, it's his origin story.
Of course.
So you've probably seen all the trailers or whatever. You know, he gets blown up by a car bomb and gets taken off to China to become Robocop.
Of course, China of all places. Made in China.
Actually, we're jumping a little too far ahead. We should probably go over what we overall thought about the movie before we get into spoilers.
Give me 2 seconds.
You need to hurry up.
I know. It's
Brandon,
important.
you go first.
I enjoyed it. I mean, of course, with me, it's never going to be as good as the first one. Nothing is going to be as good as the first one. But story-wise, I liked it. I liked how, compared to the original, that they put more emphasis on the drama and stuff like that. That you had more, you know...
There was actually a connection to his wife and child.
Yeah, exactly.
In this one than there was in the original.
And that's what I felt. And that was one thing that I find that was a plus side compared to the original, is that there's more, you know, interaction with the wife and kid. You know, instead of just coming up, he sneaks into the house in the original and then, you know...
Has flashbacks.
Yeah, that's it. So I kind of like that you got more backstory, more character development with him. So
it lent a lot to the human half of Robocop.
Yeah.
Or human third? Quarter?
No, it's human half.
I guess.
I would say human 1/18th.
1/18th.
Which we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to spoiler section. Because I don't really want to take that from people, because that's actually...
Yeah.
I thought that was actually a very well done scene, but we'll talk about that more in spoilers.
That was fantastic.
What did you overall think about the movie?
I'm still struggling with certain things about it. I don't know if I'm still not sure if I went in with too high expectations, or if I expected it to be true to Verhoeven's Robocop, which in ways it was. I like it. It's definitely not bad. It's not, like you said before, it's not the steaming pile we thought it was going to be. And I'm extremely happy with what they did.
Yeah, because the first red flag for me was when, I think it was early last year, when Sony was announcing their lineup or whatever, they decided to put Elysium out towards the back end of the summer and delayed this movie until February, and I'm just like, that to me...
I expected 3D. Like, I expected a 3D conversion when they delayed it.
I don't I don't know. Is this movie even showing in 3D?
No. I don't think so. I've not seen it.
That's fucking good. Good.
Because I've looked everywhere and I've never seen...
Then again, they probably really didn't want to spare the expense because they didn't know how well this movie was going to be received. They don't even know if this movie's going to make money, so why waste even more money doing a shitty 3D conversion?
Exactly.
You know...
So they definitely tried to be safe with this development-wise. So that, they didn't want to step their boundaries and try to put a lot of money invest into this, and then they only make so much.
But that's the thing, you're using a very dangerous word there, and that's safe. Because when people think of safe in Robocop, they think of Robocop 3.
Oh God, no.
Which is probably about as safe as you can play it. And Robocop, this movie is by no stretch of the imagination anywhere even close to Robocop 3. This is miles ahead of that.
I mean, come on, no jetpack,
no jetpack,
AR-15 on his arm,
no missile launcher on the arm,
honestly,
no actor inside the suit where the suit didn't fit.
Exactly.
Oh, Robert John Burke.
Little room in the head and the chin's like an inch too small.
God, this movie, the original was obviously known for its satire. And this one didn't play it like that. It doesn't play it as a satire. There's little elements here and there with Sam Jackson's character, Pat Novak, who's Black Bill O'Reilly. But that's a little bit of satire on Fox News, but overwhelmingly, like the beginning scene in Tehran, that's more or less, this movie is more or less a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Because this is the road that the United States is heading on. Mm-hmm. With robotics, drones, things like that. Like, they open up the movie saying that drones are illegal in the United States for use. And I'm like, okay, I'm already ready to live in this America. This sounds great. And then we engage in the libertarian nightmare, which is we want to put robots on every street corner that have the ability to scan you, know exactly who you are, what your social security number is, what your vitals look like right now. They can access the cloud or the internet and all this CCTV footage to find out if you committed any crimes, if you have any priors, who you're married to, how many kids you have. It's a fucking nightmare. Which is why I think that this movie is a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm. It's a very political movie if you look at it. If you step back and look at it, like the stuff that's being said, especially with Samuel L. Jackson's character. I mean, all that stuff he says, it's just...
Yeah.
Honestly, I think maybe you don't really necessarily have to step back unless you're like really engrossed in the action side of things. Like it's very blatant.
And another thing, when it comes to the action, speak of that, just how much faster it is in this movie than compared to the original.
Also, there's another thing I want to address, and it's a common complaint about this movie being PG-13. This movie is barely PG-13.
Oh God!
This movie is so far trailing on that R rating that I think people who are expecting an R rating will be satisfied. There's blood, there's gore, there's violence. Initially, when that script leaked and they were talking about how he violently tases people, yeah, that's in there. But he also riddles a man full of bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's justified.
He pulls a man out of a car, starts crushing his fucking hand. He explodes. There's blood and gore from his charred body. I mean...
And it's just,
that way it lived up.
Yeah,
it lived up really well.
It's a borderline PG-13 movie. I mean,
borderline R.
Well, yeah. I don't even know. I keep on going backwards. Yeah. But because I'm used to ragging on movies that are R-rated, but
that shouldn't be R-rated.
Yeah. But like this, I don't know. Everybody, it seems like online is ragging on this movie, and I just want to point out that I'm always going to love the original RoboCop, and yeah, I do love the original RoboCop over this movie. But this is a nice way to interpret it to a modern audience, because when you think about the typical modern audience member today, they don't know about the Ronald Reagan Star Wars defense platform that was mentioned in the original movie.
Yeah.
They don't know this. Hell, some of them probably don't even know who Ronald Reagan is.
Have we really gotten that bad?
they don't really know about the Cold War humor that was, they probably wouldn't understand the Cold War humor that was in the original. Like the Nuke 'em board game. Nuke 'em, get them before they get you. And there's not really any of that in this movie. There's no satirical advertisements or anything like that. You basically get a replacement for Media Break with the Novak element with Sam Jackson, who pops up like 4 or 5 times in the movie.
I think the Novak element was like hysterical.
I thought it was fine.
Fantastic.
I thought it was great. It was a nice satire on Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess from here on out, we're just going to get into spoiler territory because I really want to talk about this.
Yeah.
I really want to.
He's chomping at the bit to start talking about it.
So this movie opens up with the Novak element, obviously, and they're going through. He's got people on the ground in Tehran, Iran, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but the little graphic at the bottom, Operation
Freedom Tehran.
Yeah, Freedom Tehran. Which right there, that's a satire on the United States with Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That right there, I'm just like, oh my god, there have been talks in the past about invading Iran. And here you go, it happened.
We made it happen. It took robots, but apparently we made it happen.
And then you got these guys, these insurgents who are strapping bombs to themselves and arming up, and they're going to go out in the street and they're going to try to shoot at the robots to get the robots to kill them. They're not going to blow themselves up. They want to be caught on camera with these robots killing them.
Yeah.
To send a message.
Yeah. And I'm like, say what you will about what's going on currently with the U.S. and the Middle East, but I sort of have to sympathize with these insurgents in a sense, because they're now living in a country that's completely overrun by machines that govern their lives.
What happens once you put the robots in charge,
Yeah, I mean, then again, the EM-208s kind of reminded me of the Terminator.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah,
like they don't have the
skull,
skull, but they kind of have a similar build here. And then you also get introduced to the new Ed 209, who still, in a sense, has the same voice. It's just not as comical. He's not making panther noises.
I kind of wanted him to make panther noises and fall down the stairs. Like,
yeah, but the thing is,
I wanted that to happen.
If this Ed 209 falls down the stairs, it can get back up.
Exactly.
Because later on in the movie, they're able to get back up after they fall over. They don't just start making pig squealing noises.
I kind of wanted to see that happen.
But so you have that. Then you have Murphy and Lewis, which Lewis is now played by a black man who was Irish in Battlefield 4.
Which to me, his role with this one was to me not as annoying. Well,
yeah, I would definitely say that.
Do you know
Long talk. Battlefield 4 campaign horrible. Anyway. Short talk, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens. They're going after basically the modern equivalent of Clarence Boddicker, which I really didn't think that they were going to do in this movie, because they really set this movie up to just be Omnicorp is the villain. Yeah. Like in Robocop 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this one actually has a Clarence Boddicker-like character who I would say is effectively modernized. He's just an arms dealer, really. Yeah. He doesn't really deal in drugs, but there is a small set of people that were dealing drugs, making them. But
I think he has different parts of his little organization. As you saw because there's a part where he has this little, someone's getting paid and there's like a little bag there, so you can kind of guess it's either weed or cocaine or
it's Nuke, man. We got to get Nuke off the streets. See, that's how they're going to set up the sequel. A modern Robocop. He's going to have to face off against a Robocop 2. And they're going to put a drug dealer inside of an Ed 209 unit. And it's going to be run off of Snow Leopard from Apple. Because Steve Jobs. So
Steve Jobs, what are you doing, Steve? Stop.
So they were trying to bust the Clarence Boddicker character, which I don't even what the hell was his name? That's he's pretty unmemorable compared to Boddicker. He doesn't really play as big of a role.
He's not as tested either.
Yeah, God, he kind of looks like the guy who played Moriarty in the new Sherlock Holmes movie. He was also Dr. Ashford in Resident Evil Apocalypse. Kind of looks like that guy.
Yeah.
So And then obviously Murphy's hot on his trail, so they decide to put a car bomb underneath his vehicle and blow him up. Cut to 3 months later, his wife's already signed the consent forms, and he has been rebuilt pretty much from the ground up as Robocop.
Honestly, I don't. One of the things I'm unhappy with about the way this movie went about it was the car bomb.
Yeah, I mean,
but look back on how Verhoeven killed.
Verhoeven got an X rating because of how he did it.
Come on, how do we go from that to a car bomb? And I understand, it's modernized, and it gets the job done. It delivers the blow, literally.
I mean,
fairly well.
It's not as cool as the original, but I don't. We know what's going to happen, all right? It's just the fact that it happens, not how it happens.
Exactly, and that's why it's not really a huge thing.
It's not that big of a deal.
I think that, the picture that you get with him being, pretty much in pieces, I think that's sort of...
That's a good scene. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that scene where they strip away all of his armor to see what's left, that was in the leaked script that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was coming. I didn't know when. I didn't know it would be this early on.
I kind of like the lead up. The lead up to it was fantastic.
I mean, and then they take him apart, and he's nothing more than just lungs, an esophagus, a heart, the brain, and the face. Basically, his head, esophagus, lungs, and the
vital parts. Too.
Yeah. Other than that, there's nothing. Well, that and the hand, which we'll get to that in a little bit.
Because there's a reason for the hand, like a plot reason for the hand.
Yeah, which I want to get to later, but that's all that's left of him. And he looks at himself in the mirror and he starts crying, and then he just looks at Gary Oldman's character, who I might add is probably the best actor in this movie.
Oh God!
I was one to say,
unquestionably,
he's the best character of the whole thing.
Yeah, in a sense, he's kind of more of a main character than Murphy is in some ways, because he's been there since before even Murphy was really even brought up.
Yeah.
Which, that scene with him at the beginning teaching that guy with the mechanical arms how to play guitar again, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it also sets up the primary thing about this movie, because he's sitting there playing, and then he starts messing up, and he says, "I need emotion to play." And they're telling him, "You're getting too emotional, and that's going to make the arms start to screw up." That's actually a key theme in this movie, and I like how they set that up.
The underlying theme, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also, those arms were kind of cool.
Yeah.
They're really cool looking.
Yeah, they're really cool. I mean, the CGI in this movie, when there is CGI, I might add.
I want to actually look closely and find out how much of it is practical.
Well,
and how much is actually CG.
Well, the whole suit is practical. That's one.
No, we know the suit is practical.
Except for the visor.
Except for the part where the visor moves.
No, not even that. The visor and like when he's walking through the simulation.
Yeah.
With the EM-208 when they're testing him.
Yeah.
There's a photo that you can find online where he's got the helmet on and he's got like a little glass porthole so you can actually see.
Oh, okay.
So I'd imagine in some scenes they have that. Obviously, there are a lot of scenes where the black visor is practical with the red line going through it, and it allows, he's obviously able to see through that, but probably not the steel-looking one.
Right.
Which, God, after that, we can see, they do all the testing on him or whatever, and you get introduced to Maddox, a.k.a. Rorschach, a.k.a. New Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
What you got? Okay.
I just have to go pick up the rest of my stuff.
Alright, that's fine. Yeah, so they introduce him.
I really didn't like his character at all.
You're not supposed to.
I know, but I mean, not just because he was being a dick, but the way the actor portrayed him,
He kind of looked like he was bored.
Yeah.
A little bit. At least not, well, I should say he looked bored up until the end.
Yeah. He played like a nonchalant, just like, I didn't give a care in the world, I'm just here to be here.
I also want to point out that I watched a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff for this movie. There is a shitload of scenes from this movie that were deleted. A shitload.
Like, for instance, like you see in the trailer when he goes, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." We don't see it.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's in the movie, but it's a completely different situation
and delivery.
And, yeah,
you don't get the call for "Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
Oh my! That's another thing that I want to talk about that actually pissed me off about this movie. The robotic voice is not there.
Yeah,
it is not there at all. And in the trailers, you get a synthesized voice, and in the movie, you do not.
And then, of course, they butchered the best line ever. "I'll buy that for $1."
I wouldn't say that they butchered it. I
think it was supposed to be an homage, and I'm okay with that.
I think it was done in good taste.
Yeah.
With Jackie Earle Haley's character just going, I wouldn't buy that for $1. Like, he wasn't trying to reference the old movie, in a sense. He's just expressing how much discontent he has for Robocop. Yeah, which he calls Tin Man through the whole movie.
Love it.
That scene where he starts playing that song from The Wizard of Oz.
Fantastic.
If I Only Had a Heart. Which is funny because this Murphy does have a heart.
It's one of the few things he still has.
He's Robo-Dad.
It's
There was one. Oh my god. Your joke about going from Robocop to Robo-Dad.
Yeah, he's got to stop playing Robocop and start being Robo-Dad.
Good god.
So, ultimately what happens is that he starts getting out on the street. He starts solving his own murder.
The irony in that.
Yeah, he solves his own murder.
Which
was fantastic.
Omnicorp in this movie really dug themselves a hole by refusing to let him do that. Mm-hmm. Because if they just would have let him do that and let him solve and let him get closure, everything would have been hunky-dory. Mm-hmm. But instead, they tried to stop him.
It's because they're greed for money and profit. That's the only...
Well, and think about
if they wouldn't have tried to stop him, they would have ended up with the same result. They would have wound up with what they wanted in the end, which is they kind of wanted to wound him a little bit to the point where he would be in sort of a critical condition, or even die for that matter, so that way they can get this Dreyfus Act, which does not allow robots being used on U.S. soil for law enforcement purposes.
They wanted it gone.
Yeah, they want to repeal it, so that way they can make like they said, $600 billion?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how much they would make off the United States alone in law enforcement with these machines. So they're doing it for money, but if they wouldn't have fucked up and just let Robocop solve his own murder, they wouldn't have had this problem.
No, it would have ended completely different.
I mean, yeah, you might get a few detectives arrested and a chief of police, but you're not... Michael Keaton's character's not going to get arrested.
Exactly.
He didn't start breaking the law until after he was worried about Robocop solving his own murder.
Right.
So he made a fucking stupid decision.
Well, wait, but he wasn't worried until Robocop started solving his second murder.
Well, that's the thing.
Because he tried to solve his murder the first time.
Here's what I say when it all started is when the wife was trying to get, try to see her,
Yeah, because at one point they drop his dopamine levels all the way down, so he basically just becomes a robot, which that seems fantastic, because before that he pretty much gets Skynet uploaded into his brain, which allows him to have all the same...
Skynet.
Information that
I can see everything
that the drones and the machines have over in the Middle East.
But it's the whole thing that was just showing that Keaton's character was starting to get greedy, so he's willing to do anything to try to get his.
Michael Douglas should have played that character. Wall Street's a good movie.
Yeah,
he would have been perfect for that. You're talking about greed. What better character than Gordon
you've
Gekko?
got Bruce Wayne.
That's another thing that disappointed me about this movie is that Batman does not even fight Robocop once. This is bullshit. I mean, Christian Bale signed off. What's to stop Michael Keaton from stepping into the suit again now?
Oh man!
But in all seriousness, he wasn't a very good villain. I don't think the villains in this movie were very good at all, because he goes out with a whimper. He really does. But that scene where he goes back to Omnicorp after they're on lockdown and he's fighting all those Ed 209s, that was actually halfway decent.
Yeah.
You know, has to shoot his own arm off to get it out from underneath an Ed 209 that had fallen on him.
And Sellers didn't turn into a car lot inflatable either.
Yeah.
That's just the whole part there was just like, for some reason I was imagining Raiden when he was having to take his arm off during Metal Gear Solid 4. That's what I was thinking of. I don't know why. I don't know if that was on purpose or on accident, but it's just...
One thing that I was kind of weirded out that we didn't see more of is that in that scene you see a little bit of first person for Robocop. You don't really see that in the action scenes, but you see it like when he's being unveiled in Detroit, how he scans that guy and he finds him wanted for murder and just jumps right at him and tases him and then reads him Miranda. Which I thought...
I thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
He's a cop.
You don't need... After that, he doesn't need to say a thing. He doesn't even need to be introduced.
Nope.
It's my pleasure to show you Robocop. Jumps out in the crowd and arrests a wanted murderer. That's... And they were
fantastic.
Right. They were right when they were going over the analysis of that unveiling. They're just like, we couldn't have had it go any better. This is perfect. This is what we wanted. I don't know. I mean, yeah, this movie, it's not as smart as the original, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And they do leave it open for a potential sequel. That's gonna be up to the consumers, though. That's gonna be up to the fact if anybody buys this movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad that one of you two mentioned Judge Dredd when we were walking out of the movie theater.
Something about it.
Yeah. There's actually a scene where he reminds me of Judge Dredd.
Really?
Yeah, when he walks into the chief's office and he's like got the gun pointed at her and he's just like screaming, confess, confess. He's saying it in a Dredd voice.
Yeah.
Like, confess! And all this. It's like, oh my god. And then Rorschach
I really
turns him
that
off.
Scene, actually. Like,
yeah.
Come on, that was the most badass point that Rorschach has to ruin all the fun because,
Rorschach shuts him off.
He
holds in the power button and shuts him off.
Because Rorschach, I am God! Kneel!
No,
so in this movie we have not only Robocop, but we have also Batman, Rorschach, and Gary Oldman because Gary Oldman will fit.
And Irish.
And Irish.
So we have Commissioner we have Commissioner
Gordon.
We have Batman, we have Robocop, we have Irish.
You know what? All right.
Like
Riker, do this.
This movie, I think I wouldn't classify this movie as like a meh. I would say it's all right. I mean, if you're not going to go see it in theaters, I would say at least rent it and watch it. It's a decent action movie.
Numbers? Are we not using numbers
in
anymore?
the end, there's we could just say that there's worse movies out there. Resident Evil.
Yeah. No, there's no need to cough at all for that one.
But anyway,
I just want to know why they delayed this movie for Elysium, because Elysium fucking sucked, and this movie's better than Elysium.
I still have not seen Elysium.
Yeah, Elysium
I'm probably not going to bother.
It's from the same director as District 9, but it's nowhere near as good. So,
marketing thought that they could have got more money off Elysium, so they tried to do it first, and then...
It's because it's got Matt Damon!
But hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Matt Damon aside. I don't really give a shit about Matt Damon, but anyway. That aside. How would Elysium make more money than fucking Robocop?
It made money, actually. It was...
More money than Robocop?
I don't know about that.
Well, Robocop's only been out for...
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and today.
Yeah.
Which I find that odd, because I'm used to...
They released it on Wednesday because today's Valentine's Day.
They weren't going to
release
Robocop
I think of Valentine's Day,
you know what? That would have been fantastic.
Robocop. If they had an ad campaign centered around Valentine's Day.
That would have been amazing.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me, Valentine.
Yes! I like it.
You got Ed 209, be my Valentine, you have 20 seconds to comply.
I like it!
Also, there was a nice little throwback to that boardroom thing with Ed 209, because that kid has a knife.
Yeah.
In Tehran in the beginning.
I think it went a little too fast, though.
Drop your weapon. You have such and such to comply, and he shoots the kid. And that's another part where I'm like, my god.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, he shot the kid.
Huge deal.
And it's not like it was completely off screen either, like you would expect in PG-13.
You saw, but it was covered by explosions and junk.
Yeah, because he was at 209. He's going to blow it up.
I could expect, that they are gonna. There's gonna be an unrated version coming out.
I wouldn't say unrated. I would say there will be an extended edition, but I don't think it's going to be unrated. Because I mean, what can you do? I mean, half the movie he's using that taser pistol, so there would be no blood there. There's already actually a decent amount of blood in this movie.
There is a good amount of gore and stuff in there anyway.
Yeah. I would say that the gore is actually realistic more than anything.
Yeah.
Unlike the original, which is so over the top with blood squibs.
I loved it though.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I mean,
I love the original. I love it to death. I have a poster of it in my room for a reason. It's probably one of the most influential movies I've ever seen. It's one of the first R-rated movies I've ever seen. I saw that movie when I was 4 years old, and I loved it.
It's still one of my favorites.
Which is the wrong age to be watching Robocop.
It's still one of my favorite movies.
I'm still trying to remember the first R-rated movie I seen. I want to say it was The Matrix.
Yeah. So,
anyway, I guess it's open for a sequel.
Yeah.
It's just it's up to the people. It's up to the consumers.
You know, sequels aside, the fact that there's that they just remade RoboCop proves that Verhoeven's RoboCop had longevity. Do you think this?
I still think it holds up today.
Absolutely, I agree as well. But do you think this one is going to hold up for as long as Verhoeven's did?
No. But I didn't have to pay any money to see this movie, so I don't really care. Am I going to buy it on Blu-ray? Yeah, probably. To keep my collection complete. Because I have all the other ones. Thank God I don't have Prime Directives, though, which nobody really gives a shit about. We can just skip on that.
That's fine.
Or the television series, or the animated series.
Yeah.
But I do have 1, 2, and 3. And 3...
So your collection isn't complete. It's just movies.
And 3...
And 3.
That's the thing. If you're worried about this movie, if you're worried about the quality of this movie, this is the one thing that I have to tell you. This movie is nowhere near as bad as Robocop 3.
Holy crap.
Robocop 3 will always be the steaming shit pile that it has a reputation of being of. This movie is nowhere even close to being that bad. I like the movie. If you're curious, watch it. That's what I'm going to say. That's my final... If you're curious about it, watch it. If not, rent it when it comes out on Blu-ray. Definitely watch it on Blu-ray.
I kind of thought it was going to end up... Like, especially when they went with the whole transforming thing.
That was a joke. That was a joke on what they were trying to do to reboot the movie. Because there was a while there where they were talking about how he would be a transformer and he would be able to transform into his own method of transportation.
I thought they were going to go there, and I had a moment where I panicked. I'm like, God dang it, Robocop transforms. No!
And then you see the original, like, a suit of armor standing there, and they were doing tests with prisoners to find out which ones would be more afraid of it, and apparently the original Robocop scared the shit out of him, according to the market research guy. It was like 92% intimidation, and I'm like...
Heck yes!
You're damn right. He never has to reload.
I'm kind of sad that was the only cameo from the old suit, though.
But then again...
Well, and you notice that they finished out the movie with him putting back the old...
Yeah,
but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the new set of armor, but it's still silver and looks like the original.
It's
and more streamlined.
Did anyone notice when they were going through, like, how they were going to design how he was going to look, later on before they decided the black, that they had the old visor in there? In one of the design
I didn't
specs?
notice.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, that's when they were looking at market research for...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was the original model.
That was the old suit.
Yeah,
it was the old armor.
Yeah, it was the old suit. It was a pretty meh CG render, but
still,
it was the old suit. And then they had the transforming suit with the fucking ridiculous police lights coming out of the shoulder,
on it.
which I think that's a jab at RoboCop 2, because RoboCop 2 has that scene where they're doing trials of RoboCop 2, and that one shoots itself in the head, and then the little
siren comes out,
and the little sirens come out. So that was a nice little nod back to RoboCop 2. I mean, just as long as in the sequel he doesn't get a jetpack, I'm cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame that crotch rocket got destroyed, though. That was a nice bike.
That was pretty cool.
It was a nice looking bike.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that they kind of gave the visor red.
Yeah.
And it changed up the color scheme just enough.
Temporarily.
Yeah, but
obviously
still,
the sequel is going to be black and silver like the original.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of a bluish
Which
silver.
thumbs up to that.
yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I'll watch a sequel to this.
Actually, absolutely. I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
As long as there's no jetpack and his arm doesn't become an
gun.
AR-15.
Which you never know. He lost that arm in the final. No, he gets it back at the
Honestly, I had a moment for a minute when he shot his arm off. I'm like, son of a bitch!
They're going with
gonna
the
do
gun arm. What's next? Jetpack? Sees him flying through downtown Detroit.
Son of a bitch!
Shit.
Well, they could implement that, but I think with today's technology, they can make it look a little better than what it did in...
No, but that's not the point.
Robocop
the point
does
wasn't
not need a jetpack.
Good God.
This Robocop can already run 30 miles an hour. He doesn't need a jetpack.
No jetpack is necessary.
Because I've seen...
Dr. Steve Brule has not invented the jetpack yet, okay? So it can't happen.
Just give him a skateboard.
Yeah, give him a straight board. So, final verdicts. You go. I've already said what I need to say. If you're curious about this movie, watch it. If not, wait and rent it.
I would... Once it comes out on Blu-ray, I will buy it. I will watch it again. I'll probably watch it more than once when I get it on Blu-ray. So, I mean...
I want to watch it for the behind the scenes, really.
Yeah. And if I want to get the extended cut if they end up doing
Yeah,
it.
because originally there was a runtime listed that was like 2 hours and 38 minutes, and this one's like 2 hours and 10. So,
But there's plenty of content in there either way, so...
So there's probably deleted scenes, which... this movie is actually not really action heavy when you think about it, not until the second half.
Yeah,
like a
there's lot of
typical
other stuff
Marvel
going
origin
on.
movie.
There's a lot of other stuff going on, though. They
So-
fill the time really well.
Yeah.
And I like, and as I like how it's different from the other one. It puts more emphasis on the drama. There's more interaction with the Murphy and his wife and kids, and
Yeah.
Irish.
Yeah, I'm Irish.
I think overall it's earned its title. It can be a RoboCop movie.
Yep. Because it's better than RoboCop 3.
It's better than RoboCop. God damn.
That's all that matters.
Good
No,
God.
seriously, going into this
That's
movie...
all that matters.
No, going into this movie, which determined whether or not I would enjoy it or not, is if this is better than RoboCop 3, then yes. Because you can't get worse than RoboCop 3.
I've taken shits better than RoboCop 3.
Fair enough.
Okay?
I can relate.
TMI, guys.
with the right music?
Can we also just say
Fantastic.
that for a sequel, get the guy who directed Dread to do the
Yeah.
sequel? You know
That
how
would be
fucking
fantastic.
awesome that would be? I mean, Jose
Oh my
Padilla did an
God.
okay job.
Thank you.
That's obnoxious.
Thank you very much.
Interrupting my RoboCop review. Can't roll up windows.
Roll
Anyway,
the windows.
with this rude gentleman, we'll leave you to make your own decision about the RoboCop remake. Until next time,
That is a
bye.
See ya.
sucky
Bye.
looking vehicle.
Bye. Wait, bye.
Bye.
Fuck.
Bye.
Later.